Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, October 14th, in the midst of the Celtics preseason run. They have one game left. It's today, as they're listening to this, in Toronto against the Raptors. Little home-and-home action for them as they played the Raptors on Sunday. And then we'll get a week break again, just like we did after Abu Dhabi. But then the regular season will be here, and we'll have actual real basketball to watch with the opener against the Knicks on Tuesday, the 22nd. How you doing, Sam?
I'm excited for the opener. It was fun to go yesterday. It got me a little bit excited for what's to come. I think we're really in store for some exciting competition right off rip. Not that I'm a big fan of competition. I wish they would just beat the piss out of everybody. But nonetheless, I think having that week off is just going to build anticipation. And we're going to be guilty of it. Everybody doing media, podcasts, writing. It's going to be a ton of preview. It's going to be similar to how football works, where once the week turns, it's just focus on the next team. And it's like, how does my team match up against team Y this week? Well, we're going to have a ton of that with the Knicks who are built specifically to play against the Celtics. But first, Toronto. Can't overlook it. Trap game.
Raptors preseason last game, but we'll start with Lonnie Walker here, because it's probably the title of the podcast. But Lonnie Walker's played well in his last two preseason games, both the games at TD Garden. Looked a little shaky in Abu Dhabi. Played well against the Sixers. Played well against the Raptors. A big playmaking game in the first one, big scoring game in the second one, and it has people excited. Like, oh, look at this! Look at Lonnie can contribute, but. I saw a comment today, and this wasn't the reason I put this on the sheet. There was a bunch of people like talking on Twitter, but I saw a comment today because last night on the show, it basically said like a hand up. I was wrong about Shireman versus Walsh. Walsh looks a lot more ready right now. He looks a lot more ready to contribute. And somebody commented like, I can't wait for Jack to admit that he's wrong about Lonnie next. And hate to break it to you, don't think I'm going to be wrong about Lonnie. That is not one I'm willing to back down on. I still, unfortunately, don't think he'll make the team. I like Lonnie as a player. He's hopefully in 3 or 4 weeks, we'll be getting a Jack apology cam for his Lonnie Walker III. It wasn't anything malicious. But shout out Creative Concerts. He's in the comments. He's subbed for a while. It just doesn't make sense to sign Lonnie Walker still, despite the fact that he's been playing well. And the reason was outlined by Bobby Manning and Keith Smith on Twitter. Keith Smith put it in the, cap terms, which he's the expert at. So he said, right now the Celtics are at 3.75 multiplier. So basically for every dollar they spend, they have to, they spend actually $3.75 rather than just the dollar. Keeping Walker would nudge them to the next bracket and put them at $4.25 for dollar. So you might be thinking, oh, that's 50 cents. Yeah, but that's 50 cents extra for every single dollar, which is millions and millions and millions of dollars. So Walker, to a vet minimum of 2.1, would actually be a tax hit of 8.8 million, meaning it would cost the Celtics around $11 million to sign Lonnie Walker to the 15th roster spot. And then, I wrote about it too. Like in reality, he probably looks a bit more season ready than guys like Springer and Shireman, like based on what we've seen in the preseason alone. But those guys are on guaranteed contracts, and he would cost the team $11 million to sign to an extra deal just for a minor upgrade at the 10th man in the rotation. It just doesn't make sense, unfortunately, because like I said, I like Lonnie Walker, but it just doesn't seem like the right fit with Boston.
I know. I think it really sucks for him. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say it during this whole saga, but he's really getting the shaft from the CBA. There's no beating around the bush. He is somebody who could help a team that's trying to compete for a play-in spot and give them a good scoring punch off the bench. To be honest with you, if the Celtics didn't have someone like Peyton Pritchard, he would be a pretty good fit. But Peyton Pritchard has been the other guy that has just showed out in every single preseason game and has cemented himself as one of the, if not the biggest scoring option off of Boston's bench. You really don't need a Lonnie Walker. A team like the Pistons would need a Lonnie Walker. And what is good about this opportunity for Lonnie is there are other teams watching. Jack and I went to the game yesterday, and there were a ton of seats dedicated for scouts of numerous teams. Now, you may say, well, that's normal. Scouts are at every game. That's absolutely true. But usually not this many scouts. Usually I think it's like 3 or 4, and it's teams that are directly leading up in the schedule. They will be seeing the Celtics very soon. These were just teams scattered around the NBA. And Jack, you said to me, you were like, I wonder why there's so many scouts. And like the only thing I could think of was like, they're probably looking at the guys that are going to play tonight for roster spots because the Celtics, like you mentioned, are probably not going to keep anyone extra. They have only 14 guaranteed spots they're paying right now. They don't want to spend the extra dollars to pay anything else. And that is the fact of the matter, unfortunately. It's just tough to imagine that Lonnie Walker is going to be sticking with the team. It would be nice. I mean, it would be cool. It's not my money. Am I going to be upset if they keep him? Nope. Don't care. If they keep him, cool. Good for him. He gets to be a part of something. And maybe he's there if an injury happens. Peyton Pritchard at the podium last night did point to injuries immediately when asked about what he takes from a night like yesterday. Like, oh, if somebody gets injured, like I may get an extra 5 shots a game. Who knows? So if somebody gets injured, Lonnie Walker wouldn't be awful to have. It's just, I don't know. Is it worth 11 million to the Celtics is the question. The answer is probably not.
It's also tough because they're in the middle of selling the team. And so as much as maybe Wick would be open to taking on the money, he has to also consider like he owns the team now, but he's probably not going to own, or he's definitely not going to own the majority of the team in a year's time. Then he's not going to own any of the team in, 2028.
I thought he is going
And
to keep
so
the majority until 2028 when it gets finalized. So he's still in control.
from what I remember reading, and I could be wrong, it was he's selling 51% by the end of
Let me
this
double
cycle
check.
and then 2028. Regardless, the fact that they are going through the sale probably means the Celtics aren't too eager to bring on a bunch of excess money onto the books, especially if it's something they believe that they can live without. And the reality is they can live without Lonnie Walker. Like as much as he would be nice to have and it would be another added luxury, because like I said, he's a good player. You don't need Lonnie Walker. You have Sam Hauser, you have Peyton Pritchard, you have Jaden Springer, you have Jordan Walsh, who's looking even better this year. And if you even want to take that angle, like adding Lonnie Walker would probably cut into potential Jordan Walsh minutes. And at this point, based on what we've seen in preseason, kind of want to see Jordan Walsh minutes. Kind of want to see what he can turn into because he's on a guaranteed contract, or not guaranteed contract, but he is on the books for this year and then 2 more years after this on his second round extension. So getting him as many minutes as possible would be huge as well. The hard part for Lonnie Walker is that there's just aren't a lot of teams out there around the league who have open roster spots who would be willing to spend the money to bring in a guy, that's not already on the roster. Like you have to imagine a team that would want Lonnie Walker has a need for a bench scorer, has a need for somebody that they can think can shoot a little bit, can score, can play make, because he's shown all those things in this preseason. But where is it? Like what team around the league is looking for a guy like that and they are willing to cut somebody that has already been in their system for a guy like that? And again, it's not a lot knock on Lonnie Walker. It's just the NBA is really good. There's a lot of really good players around the league, and like if you're maybe if you're a Hornets or a Pistons, you're like, all right, maybe we can take an upside swing because he's only 25. And if you're a Kings or a Grizzlies, you're like, okay, let's get another scoring punch. But at the same time, would you rather do that, or would you rather, keep giving Keon Ellis developmental minutes, or keep, trying to get Vince Williams some looks and see if he can grow? Like at the end of the day, it's a matter of bringing in Lonnie Walker on probably what he's looking for is a 1-year minimum versus those guys that I just mentioned are on multi-year deals, and you can keep them around. You can develop them.
Correct.
They're 4 years younger. It's a really awkward and tough spot for Lonnie Walker to be in. And I certainly don't think the Celtics are the team that are going to keep him around based on everything we've seen and based on how much money it would cost them to have him on the books for the upcoming season.
2 things. First, Jack was correct. 51% being sold right up front. So the Celtics current ownership group will no longer be the majority owner after whenever that date happens. Second thing, oddly enough, the only contender I can think of that would be a good home for Lonnie Walker is like the Knicks, because their bench stinks. And even then, like when he comes off the bench, he's going to be replacing one of the guys that's meant to just play defense and shoot. Like he's not going to be replacing Brunson, right? So that's like an odd fit. But at the same time, like if he wants to try and win a title and compete and go deep in the playoffs, like that's probably the best spot for him. Like even somebody like Indiana, they have enough guys already. It's really tough to imagine, like you pointed out, real competitive teams having room for him. It's really more of like the hopeful teams that could use a little bit of extra scoring and just another offensive option. Like maybe Charlotte's trying to make a little bit of a jump this year, whether it's realistic or not. Like they feel like they have a shot with LaMelo being back and Brandon Miller looking good. Like they're like, what if we brought this guy off the bench? But your point about the young guys stands. Why would you bother? Has anyone asked him if he thinks he's getting a tough deal because of the CBA?
I don't know directly, but he kind of talked about, him not getting contracts, how he was surprised, how he was a little frustrated, stuff like that when we talked to him at practice when he first, started up training camp with the Celtics. So it's just a tough spot to be in. And even the Knicks, right? Like Miles McBride, want to play him a bit more than you want to play Lonnie Walker. You've got a ton of wings / guards in that starting lineup. Like realistically, they're probably going to play Josh Hart at the 4. He's a wing. Cale Bridges is a wing. Jalen Brunson's a guard. Anunoby's a wing. If you'd rather develop Tyler Kolek, obviously Lonnie's probably a little better than him right now. But if you're like, all right, we see something in this guy, you'd probably rather play him developmental minutes because you can get him on a longer term deal versus Lonnie Walker. It's just a really tough spot. The Knicks do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys on guaranteed contracts, however, heading into the season. So they do technically have room to sign it. They need to sign at least 2 more players and have room to sign at least 3. I think I've heard good things about Landry Shamet, so I think he might earn a spot on that squad, but they technically do have room to sign a guy like Lonnie Walker. So there are teams around the league, especially teams like you mentioned, have roster spots opened up because of trades or because other stuff is happening. And so maybe that's where you see him jump on board. Like the Mavs look like they could be in that same position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, they have 14 and Markieff Morris would be 15 if he signs. So there are very few spots that could take Lonnie Walker. I think the Knicks is a good one. I think that's a good point, but he's just in an awkward spot. And like I said, as much as I think Celtics fans are rightfully enjoying what they're seeing from him, I just don't think it makes sense for them, organizationally speaking, to keep him on board.
He's not able to be signed to a 2-way, right? Like,
no,
just in general, not even with the Celtics.
Fewer than 4 years of service, I believe.
Gotcha.
So no 2-way for Lonnie, unfortunately, and that's what makes it harder for those older guys in that weird group of after versus 26. So. Anyways, next thing, Mark Medina, now of Sportskeeda, did some interviews with some NBA executives around the league. I believe he used to write for NBA.com. So This is a guy who has had connections in the league before, obviously, if he wrote for the NBA. And he asked them all, like, oh, who do you think is going to win the title this year? They all picked the Celtics. Every single one of them. You talked to 2 executives, 2 assistant coaches, and everybody just said, yeah, it's going to be the Celtics. The first exec said it's very wide open, but you have to give the healthy defending champ the nod. Next one said you have to dethrone the champion, and they didn't really get much older. The assistant coach said I'd go with Boston, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. There's more parity, which fair enough. There's a lot of good teams around the league.
That's true.
And then assistant coach 2 said you have to take Boston as the favorite. Then the next 2 questions are literally who is the biggest, threat in the East and who from the West will play the Celtics in the finals. So it's just a giant the Celtics are probably going to win.
I don't like this.
On everything these guys have to say. I mean, you saw it in the GM survey too. Everyone just picked the Celtics.
I mean, that's what happens when you win. People believe in you, and the point has been made that you are capable of winning. Like the can Tatum be the best guy in a championship team question is answered. Can Jalen be the second best? Answered. Like all of those type of things people say about certain players before they have proven themselves. Like it's all gone. They're past that point now, right? So everyone's gonna be like, yeah, these are the best guys, and they've shown that they can do it. Why would they not repeat? And with the Celtics, it's pretty fair. They brought everybody back. It's not the most shocking thing that they'll have chemistry. They'll be able to gel together. And they dominated throughout the regular season, too, last year. It's not like they had a championship run just because it was easy. And yes, they earned the right to play the worst teams throughout the playoffs. It's kind of how it works. But when they were playing the good teams, they beat up on all of them, too.
It's just the Celtics are in such a unique position versus the last 6 teams to win a championship. And I say 6 teams because nobody's repeated since the Warriors in 2018. Or I guess that's technically 5 teams. No, 6, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6 teams. To win a championship. Like you look at those teams, the Raptors obviously didn't bring Kawhi back. It is what it is. They traded DeRozan for a championship, blah, 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 right? 2020 Lakers, they who didn't they bring back? Marc Gasol left, I think, after that year. And as much
Rondo came back.
Marc Gasol was a huge part of why that team worked because they had an actual center that fit next to Anthony Davis. And that was like sort of the the thing that held them all together. Am I making that up? Was Marc Gasol not on the team? Dwight Howard, sorry. Marc Gasol was on the Lakers. Was he just the season after? Am I crazy?
It was the season after because Marc Gasol during the bubble was on the Raptors, and he became my favorite player because he was so
Sorry,
bad
yes.
against the Celtics
Sorry.
in that series.
You're so right. Marc Gasol was good on the Lakers, though, and I remember the back-to-back years of Dwight Howard and Marc Gasol being the Lakers' starting center next to Anthony Davis was actually really successful when it was there, and people talked about it being good. But the point is, the Lakers after 2020 lost some pieces. Alex Caruso, obviously, as a guy that they lost. I believe they lost KCP after that year as well. Nope, they didn't. But they lost. What did I say? Caruso. Didn't sign him back, and then Dwight Howard just wasn't there. / wasn't as effective. So the year after that, just going through the champions, the Bucks obviously lost PJ Tucker. Didn't bring him back. Obviously ran into injuries since then. 2022 Warriors lost like Gary Payton. They sort of fell apart a little bit. Injuries ran into some other stuff off the court, obviously as well.
The best is that they lost Gary Payton and they had to trade for him to get him back.
And then they got him back.
That's
Yeah,
how bad their season was. They were like, fuck, we got to go get him back. And then he came back and hurt himself.
He's been dealing with a ton of injuries issues. And then obviously the Nuggets have just lost pieces since. And the Celtics didn't do that. The Celtics brought back every single player that was a part of their championship core on long-term deals. And so looking at the difference between all these past champions and what the Celtics have done this year, it's not hard to pick them as the favorite to win again. Like, you even look at the GM survey. The year after the Nuggets won, it was like a 50-50 split in terms of, Celtics and Nuggets were co-favorites. This year, it is overwhelmingly, the Celtics are probably going to win the title. And I just think it's a respect thing of they are the exact same team. Maybe teams around the league improved, yes, but I think GMs understand more than people listening to the media that while the Celtics road in the playoffs was easy, like admittedly, like they didn't play a lot of teams in the East, they also dominated the East in the regular season. Like, it's not like they were this 5,500 team or whatever, and they went into playoffs and got an easy run. They were the biggest margin of victory winner in the East in like 2 decades. Like they dominated. So I think you have to respect that going into the next year of the same team.
Why do you think the Knicks are not getting as much hype, at least in these circles? Because in the NBA.com survey, it was the same type of thing, right? It wasn't a lot of other Eastern Conference teams than the Celtics. The Cavs were the only one that got a vote, and it was the Celtics that voted for it. Why do you think it's just the depth? Or do you think it's they haven't seen it yet? Because like you mentioned, the Celtics last year had that juice still.
I just think the Celtics are better than the Knicks, and for what it's worth, when people ask like, "Oh, who do you think in the East can contend?" The people Mark Medina talked to did go to the Knicks as one of their top options, so they are getting some like respect. Like, the Knicks are doing a tremendous job here. Someone talked about the Bucks and Middleton and the depth issues. Philly's up there. Obviously, they're talking about the Knicks even more. Someone actually did say Cleveland, which is just really funny. But the Knicks are getting some like, they should contend with the Celtics, but I just think it is a result of their roster is not as good. And as much as like you go bar for bar, like Jalen Brunson gives you the edge. If you like go star for star, Brunson is not as good as Tatum. You go secondary star, Karl-Anthony Towns is not as good as Jaylen Brown. You go tertiary star, Mikal Bridges is probably better than Kristaps just for the sake of he's healthy. But then Derek White, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Drew Holiday, like Celtics probably have a small edge there too. And then the Celtics definitely have the depth advantage on the bench. Like there's, as good as the Knicks are, there is really no place where they are significantly better than the Celtics. Like, for as much as they improve, the Celtics are just better across the board. Realistically, in my opinion, if healthy, I think the Sixers might have a better chance to beat the Celtics than the Knicks, just because they have a clear advantage in the sense of, as much as Al Horford has dominated Joel Embiid in the past, if Joel Embiid is healthy in the playoffs with these weapons around him, he will probably be the best he has ever been against the Celtics. And he would probably be, out of the Knicks and the Sixers, he's the best player on those two teams. I still think Jason Tatum is better than him, but the Knicks don't have a guy I can confidently say can beat the Celtics in a series. And I think if Joel Embiid is healthy, as much as we've never seen it before, I would put my chips on him to beat the Celtics in a series with Paul George and Maxey next to him than I would versus like Brunson and company.
Yeah, Embiid being an MVP winner in the past, being somebody who can put up 70 points in a game and is essentially just bigger and stronger than everybody, especially considering the Celtics will be without Porzingis, at least in the first half of the season. Who knows how healthy he's going to be when he's back. Al Horford being 38 now, it puts a question mark on his ability to continuously at least take the abuse from Embiid down low. I don't think there's a question on whether or not that he can still guard him or stay with him or predict what he's going to do, because that's just kind of a muscle memory thing. And he's shown that he has that kind of mental ability to just determine what Embiid is going to do, how he's going to stop him, the game plan, all of that still is existent. The physical aspect is the part that you should be worried about, if you're worried at all. The Knicks, it feels like the Celtics have as many answers for the Knicks as the Knicks have for the Celtics. And that is exactly the point you're making. So I feel it. I think Paul George is a good ad, especially since he was free.
Yeah.
They're still the Sixers until proven otherwise.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Shams went on ESPN today and said like the Sixers have a new plan, like they're going to rest Embiid for like large chunks of the regular season. So it does sound like they're making an even bigger emphasis than they have in the past of keeping him healthy, which is smart, especially considering they have more talent to guide them through the regular season now, with Paul George and the other pieces they added. So we'll see what the Sixers look like. I still am not out on the Bucks. Obviously the injuries have been a thing forever. They're getting older.
Forgetting them.
Yeah, but I think the Bucks are a really good team too. But we'll see what happens. It just does seem like, and not even seems like it, everybody around the league is still saying, okay, it's the Celtics and you got to beat the Celtics.
Did you see the meme of Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham sitting on the bench, and someone was like, this is the worst possible coaching combination.
Yeah. It's messed up, man. they let him have it. All right, next thing is quick, but Al Horford is going to be playing tonight as you're listening to this. Joe Mazzulla said on Sunday night that Al Horford would be active on Tuesday against the Raptors, so expect him to play. I don't know how many other starters will play. I assume they'll all get a tiny bit of run at the very least, but Al's going to be suited up for his first and only preseason game, as Joe said he would be earlier in training camp and such.
Man, Al Horford sitting through the first 4 preseason games was not on my bingo card. Did not predict that happening. I didn't think he was going to play in the back-to-back, but I thought we would have seen him at least once in Abu Dhabi. It's kind of weird. I don't know how concerned I am about it, but it's, in my opinion, not a great thing. You want to be out there getting those reps to some degree, even if it's only for a quarter.
Yeah, but he's gonna have that in this game. He will get.
Well,
what
I mean, like multiple times.
I guess like they're playing. I can imagine they're playing close to full speed in practice as Mazzulla's psychotic, and I think it's just a matter of let's limit the opportunities he could get injured or the wear and tear on his body throughout the season. Like they've been sitting him on the second night of back-to-backs for this is gonna be the 4th year in a row. Him not playing in 3 preseason games or 4 preseason games is like, yeah, all right. I mean, whatever. Like it is what it is. He's 38. He's played in 17 preseason games, 16 preseason slates. He doesn't need to play in another one. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. If Joe says he's fine, he's fine. Al Horford looks like he's in better shape than ever before, so I'm not stressing.
Breaking news, kind of. Cam just shared a video of a little ring preview from the Celtics. So I will put that in the chat in case you would like to pull it up and show the people the new Larry.
It's just the first thing on my Twitter timeline, so I'll
excellent.
I could just look
even better.
Looks
like it might be coming pretty clean.
Oh, that does look good. Was that wood?
Nah, the ring.
No, beneath it.
Oh, in the back.
The hell is that?
I don't know why they would have wood.
Yeah.
What? Oh no, that's definitely rock. Look at the texture.
That's not rock.
That's definitely rock.
Look at the thing at the bottom.
That could be but that could be like a grooved part of the rock. I agree with you. It does look like wood, but I think overall it looks more like a rock.
I guess maybe, yeah.
It would make
ring looks cool though.
Jewelry.
Ring looks cool though.
The ring should just say no Larry on them.
All right, let's do email quick. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod at gmail.com. That's hbtcpod at gmail.com. We have a few today to go over, so let's get into it. First up, RJ says, future assistant coaches. Late/early morning folks, just watched the Saturday video, the Pritchard Brown matchup. My question is more of down the road thing. Which the current team do you see coming back as a Celtics assistant after they retire? Pritchard, an easy call, but who else? Be well, RJ. I don't know. Pritchard was drawing up some plays on the bench against Philly, so That is one. But coming back to the Celtics as an assistant, I think Pritchard's a fine one. See, my problem is I don't know how many players on this Celtics team will want to coach after. I feel like a lot of them might just be like, all right, we played. I'm going to go enjoy time. Like, I don't think Tatum will coach. I think he'll just be like, all right, I'm good. I'm going to
He
chill.
wants to be his fatherly self.
I think Jalen is the same. I think he's going to be like, all right, I'm good. I'm going to go do a bunch of stuff in the world away from basketball. I feel like Al is just going to be like, I want to spend time with my family. I feel like Derek White's just going to be a Tim Duncan. I'm going to get out of the limelight. I feel like Drew Holiday's maybe your best bet, but I don't know if he would be, not that he doesn't have a connection to the Celtics, but I feel like he'd be more open to be like, all right, I will coach with whoever I think is the best opportunity for me to coach or the best group for me to coach. Excuse me. So I think Pritchard's the real obvious answer, and past that, I don't know if there's many guys that would be the options. And Porzingis, I think, is just, I don't think he'll coach.
I think Pritchard is the best bet just because it feels like basketball is literally everything. Like that's what he does. That's his life. Growing up, he was dribbling basketballs in the garage for 12 hours a day, like crazy training regimen, whatever. I can't see Horford wanting to do it for the reasons you said, and he was the one that jumped into my mind right away because I was like, well, what if he like kind of falls into the Juwan Howard thing with when he was with Miami and he was just kind of there and then he officially became a coach, but I don't know. He probably wants to be with his family. You're right.
Yes, I don't know. But Pritchard for sure. Next email. The problem with Jaden, says RJ. Evening, folks. Nice to see the bench Celtics are on par with the 22-23 regulars when it comes to letting go of the rope. All kidding aside, Sunday's game was fun to watch, and is setting itself on fire with hot takes on how Jaden Springer has to be cleared out to make room for Lonnie Walker. You are correct. That is what it is. But it's a few games into the preseason, and just like Sam Hauser had a slow start last year, Jordan Walsh looked rocky in summer league, and even Lonnie couldn't throw a rock at the ocean to Dubai. We should give Springer his mulligan for a couple of bad games. In short, the problem with Jaden is one of the perception right now. Everyone take a deep breath, relax, and trust Joe and Brad know what they're doing. Be well, RJ. Yeah. Also, cutting Jaden for Lonnie doesn't make sense because he wouldn't save money. He's on a guaranteed contract. Like, you just eat the money, and that's the last thing the Celtics want to do.
Well, they could dump him for like nothing.
In theory, yeah.
Like basically what Sacramento
Philly
did.
Oh yeah.
Jalen McDaniels. But yeah, man, Springer's just looked weird in a weird way. He hasn't like just looked like he sucks. He looks like he's not engaged, and he's got a weird feud going with Joe where he's getting pulled from games.
Delano Banton treatment. He's the Delano Banton.
It sucks because his game should make him a Joe guy. He's a weird psychopath that will dog all the way down the court, defending guys. He's an energy guy. He was getting put in games last year just to get stops. I don't know what's going wrong. I'm upset. The threes are actually going in and everything else is gone, like you said yesterday,
Yeah.
Jack. I'm fucking devastated.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough look for Springer so far. It just looks like other guys are ready ahead of him. Like Jordan Walsh looks a little better. Baylor Shireman hasn't, so I guess that's a plus for Jaden Springer. But I don't know. It's if I'm the Celtics right now, I'm looking at Jordan Walsh and saying, all right, we'll give you some of these O'Shea's few minutes rather than Springer, unfortunately. And if we need Springer to play some minutes behind Pritchard, then maybe that happens. But Springer's got to figure it out because, like you said, it goes past, though. He's a couple turnovers, a couple fouls. He just looks like he is all over the place and not doing the right things, which is not going to be tolerated in Boston.
If I could pick one person to be outplaying him, though, it would be Walsh. So at least that's
I'm fine with it. Speaking of that, Jaden versus Lonnie from Rui.
Delete.
A couple of things. I'm gonna blur your phone number down here, Rui. My God. Oh, let me timestamp this so I don't dox your phone number. C29. All right. Jaden versus Lonnie. Hello, both. Great to see you both, Jack, live at the Garden and Sam virtually on the pod. Question, maybe theoretical for now, is Jaden Springer's spot in danger? Can be cut in the next days/week so that Brad transforms Lonnie Walker into a standard deal or even a two-way? I don't know enough about contracts, couldn't care less about taxes and aprons, but I understand it's almost impossible to keep 15 players right now. Cheers, see you soon. Also, hello again, just add the confusion. Or we don't need Lonnie because we have Drew Peterson, ? No, you can't cut Jaden to get Lonnie because cutting him, you would just eat the money, and that defeats the purpose of it. You could technically dump him. I don't think the Celtics would do that just because of how, they'd have to give up an asset like you'd probably have to give something up, or a team would have to want Jaden Springer. And the fact that the Celtics
Who
got
would?
him for a useless second round pick probably means a lot of teams aren't exactly itching to get their hands on him right now. And also the people are saying just trade him and dump him. If he's so bad, you want the Celtics to dump him. Some other like probably not a lot of teams around the league are going to want to give up stuff for him. Drew Peterson's look really good, so that is a good point. I do like Drew Peterson, and overall, maybe I'm crazy. I think he just looked better than Lonnie Walker, just as a whole.
Drew Peterson?
So I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he does more. He's
Exactly.
shown off an ability to pass the ball. I mean, we talked a little bit about it on
Even
the post game
defensively,
yesterday.
I think he's held up a little bit better. So
Isn't that
I'm
incredible? Even though he's like built like me.
exactly. It's just he's more positionally sound, and sometimes that's all that matters. So, Jaden Springer's not going to get cut for Lonnie Walker. I don't think Lonnie will make the roster as much as Lonnie has looked better than Jaden Springer, but the tax implications, which we explained earlier in the show, Rui. So hopefully those answer your questions. It would just cost the Celtics too much money to keep Lonnie on board. But anyways, NBA time. Let's start with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is turning down $165 million this year in favor of an extension that he will be eligible for next season. This is from Shams Charania of ESPN. Rich Paul, who is Fox's agent, said the floor general is bypassing a 3-year, $165 million max extension this year. He'll be eligible for a 4-year, $229 max next summer. If he makes an All-NBA team this season, he would be eligible for a 5-year, $345 max supermax or million supermax next summer. He's going to make 35 mil this year, 37 next year. So basically saying, I am going to take a chance on myself. Also, Charania said that Fox has made it clear publicly and privately that he wants to be a significant part of the future in Sacramento. So he's planting his roots there, but he wants to wait for the bigger contract, which, I mean, yeah, that makes sense considering how good he's been. He was a lot better than even I thought he was last year when I was looking at his stats recently.
I mean, Fox is a quality player. There's nothing you can say to debate it. He plays both ends of the floor. He's a fast athlete. He can set his teammates up. He's really taken a nice jump over the last couple of years. And I think this is pretty standard practice, right? Like guys are just going to wait unless their name is Derek White to get that extra $100 million on the extra year, especially when there's the chance for the extra $200 million almost if he makes an all NBA team. It's probably a similar situation to what we saw with Tatum 2 years ago when we were like, or Jalen, is he going to get on the all NBA team? Is he going to do it so they can extend him? I think that is going to be a major storyline for the Kings this year. And thankfully for them, as well as Fox, I believe most people in the media will lean Fox if it comes down to it, just because he has money at stake.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough for him to get an all NBA team, though. I don't.
A lot of good guards.
Yeah, well, it's positionless now, so it doesn't even matter about the guards. So he's just competing with everybody. This is just bar for bar the Jalen Brunson situation, though, or pretty close to it. Jalen Brunson said, "I'll take the money now instead of taking more money next year." Gave them a little bit more flexibility. You don't blame Fox. I mean, it is a little bit different as well, I will say, because I think Fox deserves some respect for sticking it out in Sacramento for so long. Yeah, get your money, brother. You have spent plenty of years in Sacktown, and I know they're finally good now. But yeah, Fox was really good last year, though. On the Kings last season, he had the best season of his career. Averaged 27, 4.6, and 5.6, 46, 37 splits on 8 threes a game, which is 2.8 more than he's ever taken in his life. His previous high is, he took a lot of threes last year. And he's really good. So, he and Sabonis are a good duo. It's just the West
Kings
is
going to be back this year, Jack?
Yes, I think the Kings are going to be really good. I thought they were fine last year. Obviously, they took a little bit of a dip back, but I think they're going to be good again. So we'll see.
The West, like 1 through 10 was just all above 45 wins. Very tough.
Next thing is Donte DiVincenzo versus the Knicks. I'm going to read the recount of this. This is from New York Post. So bear
now,
with me.
if you didn't see last night or Sunday night now, Donte DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson's father, Rick Brunson, who is an assistant on the New York Knicks, had a verbal shouting match, and both of them had to be restrained during Minnesota's preseason game at New York. So this is what was reportedly said, just for the context.
So Rick Brunson reportedly said, quote, "Sucka shit, man. That was some sucka shit. I'm gonna let you live, brother." DiVincenzo responded, "You talk to me. I was talking to Tibbs," DiVincenzo said. "You want to bring it out here for the camera." DiVincenzo said, "Can't finish right, Tibbs." Uh, Brunson was getting animated on the sidelines. DiVincenzo said, "That's what happens when they let you run the show. Let daddy
Hmm.
be in charge."
Hmm.
Then Donte explained after the game, he said it was about a finish. I didn't say anything about the trade. He said, DiVincenzo told reporters after the game that his comments weren't aimed at a specific person and that he, quote, didn't thank them for the trade because people online were speculating that he said thanks for the trade. He said he didn't say that. It was in the general direction of the Knicks bench. Obviously, they have me on video saying it, and I'm not there anymore. I play, I'm competitive, I want to wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's all it was. You talk about Brunson or Jalen Brunson. My relationship with Jalen, that's my brother and my best friend. That's a separate relationship. We'll talk about that privately and figure everything out. But it is what it is. So as much as this is a detailed, this is what happened, this what happened, I still don't exactly know what transpired. But it's just, I don't know. It just feels like there's if I had to guess in my, not optimistic isn't the right word, but less conspiracy brain, he was probably talking shit because he was in the middle of a game. Rick Brunson took exception to it, even though he was aiming it at Tibbs and the rest of the staff. And then he said, "I wasn't talking to you, bro. Shut the fuck up." And it was just we were talking about the game being competitive, and then it escalated to something that it probably didn't have to be. And now it is, of course, since he just got traded, everyone just assumes it's that.
Man, this feels like it's a whole lot of nothing, but it didn't look like a whole lot of nothing, and the scenario makes it not look like a whole lot of nothing with the trade and everything. But no legitimate beef makes any sense. But then it also does, because when the trade happened, people were like, maybe DiVincenzo wasn't quite as happy in New York as people thought. He wasn't as tight with the rest of these guys. Now,
Mhm.
this article does cite DiVincenzo being a groomsman in Jalen Brunson's wedding last
Yes.
summer. I don't know what to make of this. This is so bizarre. Not really, but I don't know. You don't really feel like this was the situation that a player that was traded comes back and then all of a sudden there's a benches clearing altercation where everyone is on the middle of the floor trying to hold everybody back. Like, sure.
Well, it was
Even if you
post
were like
game.
Randall. Okay.
It's not like it was a mid game scuffle and they had to get
Okay.
everything sorted. It was like
Okay.
after the game, everyone was on the floor saying what's up, anyways.
I see. All right.
Yeah, I I just think he was talking shit during the game. Rick Bronson didn't like it. Obviously, there's probably a little, you guys just traded me. I want to beat your ass. Like, I want to, score a million points, whatever. But I don't know if it's anything actually cynical.
I wonder if this is the first time we've ever had a preseason return after a trade. I feel like
Maybe.
not a lot
Mm.
is made of that because usually these things happen in the regular season. And I was like, well, who fucking cares if you light them up in the preseason? But I think any chance you get, you really want to. And you do have
Especially
that
this
extra
soon
competitive
after. Like this was
fire.
a couple weeks ago. Like this, it's not like
Yeah,
this was a whole
wound is still
summer.
fresh.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Last NBA thing, Jimmy Butler opened up a little bit about extension talks, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, nothing has gotten done yet, but he said, this is via the Miami Herald, Anthony Chang. I want to play as many games as possible. I'll leave it at that. I don't need to put a number on that amount of games that I play. I know the more games that I play, the more opportunities that my squad has of winning. I do know that. And then that is it. So he didn't like directly address the extension, but basically said, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. It's just he's going to play more this season. Obviously, the starting five documentary revealed that he missed some time last year because of the death of his father. So that gives a little more explanation as to what happened. But um, Jimmy Butler, the last X amount of seasons, has played. Let me take a look here. Last year, like I said, he was out for a reason, but 60 games, 64 before that, 57, 52, and 58. And those were the shorter years. 65, 59, 76 in 2017 is the last time he cracked the 70 game mark. So yeah. And he's only played 70 plus games twice in his career.
Jimmy is such an interesting storyline this year because he is so fiery and competitive. And it feels like there's a feud between him and Pat Riley happening. So I'm curious to see how the competitiveness affects this. And Pat Riley is also a motherfucker. Now they're obviously not openly beefing. They're on the same team. They want the Heat to win. They want to be competitive. But Pat Riley took some obvious shots at Jimmy right after the Celtics bounced Miami from the playoffs in the spring because Jimmy was doing interviews on the sideline and talking shit, and Pat Riley didn't like that because he wasn't out there playing. That all feels a little bit inconsiderate now that we know what happened with Jimmy's father, and I know Pat Riley was upset that he wasn't playing in the playoffs, which was an injury, so I really don't think Jimmy could have controlled that. I think that Jimmy Butler wants to stay with Miami. I know you feel the same way. He's had a great tenure there. He's been a great member of that organization. There's a decent case for his number to be retired. They would probably have to win a title for it to be ironclad, but it's still there. I could also see him going to play somewhere else, and I would not be surprised in the slightest.
I would be a little surprised. I think he'll stay in Miami. I don't think he'll want to go anywhere else. I don't think that makes sense for Jimmy at this point in his career. Like, I think he just likes Miami. I think he likes, and for what it's worth, I don't think like Pat Riley dislikes Jimmy Butler. I think he really, really likes Jimmy Butler. I think it's just a like play games, bro. Like, I think it is a lot of. I mean, Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler are both the masters of we're going to get our way by doing what we want in our way. And Pat Riley's is, I'm going to say this in the media, cause some shit. Like, I bet behind the scenes, I would bet there is a chance that behind the scenes, those two motherfuckers were just laughing at, like, look what all these fucking idiots are saying.
No shot.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's impossible. Like, I bet, I don't think it happened because there's still no extension now, but it wouldn't surprise me if when an extension is signed, they're like, yeah, we're cool. Like, see what I'm saying? Like, there's any like legitimate fuck this guy energy between either of them. Obviously,
you think so you don't think there's anything to the fact that there's no extension at this point? What do you think the reasoning is behind that?
I think Pat Riley play more games. I think, bro, you didn't play last year. I'm not going to.
So there is a challenge.
Well, yeah, I don't think it is. Fuck you. I'm not giving you an extension because you didn't play. I think it's Pat Riley, as much as he might like Jimmy Butler, is fucking Pat Riley. He's not going to say, okay, yeah, here's like, it's not like he's LeBron or D Wade and he won titles there. Like, I think Pat Riley is a businessman at the end of the day, and as much as he probably likes Jimmy Butler, at least I would guess, he's not going to give you something that you didn't earn in his mind by not playing a ton of games in the past few years and not making it to the finals the last 2 years. You didn't earn it. So
he did make it to the finals
last 2 years.
Last 2 years. He did.
Yeah, I guess not good enough. Didn't win it though. Lost in 5 games.
That's
6
true.
Games.
See, but like there's the aspect that makes you scratch your head because from the Jimmy point of view, Jimmy's probably like, I have earned this. I have made your team relevant almost by myself.
Didn't win. If there's any motherfucker around the league who would pull the "you didn't win a title" card,
the no Larry card,
Pat Riley. No Larry, no
extension. Pat just slides like a paper across and it just says no Larry with a question mark, and the meeting ends.
I think he's just a harsh guy, and that is what it is. But we'll see. I lied. This is the last NBA thing. Lonzo Ball finally making it back to the court. Officially announced that he will play in the preseason game. Right, he's going to play in the next preseason game
Wednesday.
So Lonzo Ball is finally going to make it back. Very happy for Lonzo. It's been a long 2 years. So
is Lonzo in the final year of his contract?
No. He's got this year and one more, I believe. I can double check, but I believe he's got this year and then one more season after this.
What are your expectations for Lonzo coming back? Because this is where you look at what Chicago's doing. First of all, if you're Lonzo, there's probably no better situation to come back in. There's no expectation.
I was wrong. This is the last year.
Okay.
This is the last year of his contract.
The team's not supposed to compete. You're not going to have probably a short leash in terms of, oh, if you're not playing well, we just can't afford to play you because we're trying to win basketball games. Chicago is unequivocally not trying to win basketball games. But if he does play well, do they trade him?
My thing is Tatum, sorry. I was looking at something. I saw something on Twitter. If I'm the Bulls, this is a disastrous time for Lonzo to come back because you have Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Josh Giddey, all of whom I would rather play and give minutes to than Lonzo Ball, all of whom you are trying to develop, all of whom are supposed to be the basis of this quote unquote rebuild that they're trying to do. The Bulls are a
Right.
mess, but like they are the most intriguing young pieces they have on the roster, and Lonzo Ball plays the same position. So if you're the Bulls, I think what you said makes the most sense. You hope he rehabs his value enough so you can trade him at the deadline, but he makes $21 million. So he would have to really, really rehab his value for a team to be willing to make that happen, because he's probably going to want to go, or they would, the most likely scenario is they trade him to a team where he could, play an immediate role. That's a lot of money for a backup point guard. You just don't see that a lot. And so it's a tough spot.
20 million isn't that much nowadays, which is a good thing for the Bulls, good thing for
It
Lonzo.
is for contending teams, because most contending teams are over the apron and can't combine salaries to get there.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. That fucking CBA makes it difficult. I'm just so curious about this. This is such an interesting story to me because Lonzo hasn't played in like 2 years.
Mhm.
When's the last time we've seen someone come back after such a long hiatus? I don't know.
Clay.
Okay, yeah, Clay. And Clay was all right.
He's gotten a worse rep than he deserves. He's not the same defender he was, but he is still a knockdown 3-point
I
shooter.
mean, they won the championship after he came back. Like
Exactly.
he was making shots against the Celtics. He annoyed me. So, like, if Lonzo has one singular season where he's roughly the same, like that's pretty good. I don't know
Yeah.
what team's trading for him. I mean, Milwaukee wouldn't mind him if he's playing
But
all right.
they can't aggregate contracts.
They're paying. Oh, they have Dame. I forgot they had Dame.
Yep.
I host a basketball podcast with
Like-
Jack. Can you believe that?
Like go through the teams, and I will I'll look at to see if they can trade for Lonzo Ball. Like there's just not
Clippers?
a lot of situations where it makes sense. Like the Bucks are a good one, but they can't really do it. Like the Magic,
Clippers?
maybe the Clippers, but
Clippers make a lot of sense if you're in the camp of bring them back because they really don't have a lot of ways to go right now. They're kind of tied to the guys they have, and they don't have any draft picks. And if they can
yeah,
get a
okay.
pseudo hit with Lonzo and have him be a part of their team going forward, like that's not too bad.
I don't hate the Clippers. If the
Phoenix?
Clippers are in the spot in the middle of everything where they can be like, okay, maybe we'll make it happen. Maybe you do like Norm Powell, because they can combine salaries now. So maybe you do like, but like, would you want to give up Norm Powell? Because he's probably a big scorer. You can trade PJ Tucker's salary and like either Norm Powell or a couple like smaller guys for Lonzo, and maybe make that happen. And maybe the Bulls are all right, give us a second, we'll do it. Phoenix can't combine salaries, so it would have to be Bradley Beal. And if I'm the Bulls, I'm shutting the door. I'm saying get the fuck off the phone.
You have your Zach LaVine, and you're like, here's my second Zach LaVine right here.
Yeah. No, I'm saying get out of here. And if I'm Phoenix, I'd rather have Bradley Beal. As much as that is weird, because like
You think so?
yes, as much as Bradley Beal wasn't healthy, he's been hell of a lot more healthier than Lonzo Ball for the past 2 years. So I'm not taking that risk, especially when everything is up in the air in Phoenix.
Oh, I was thinking LaVine. Yes, obviously, yes. Other teams, like
the
if you're San Antonio,
Kings.
do you take a flyer on them?
If I'm the Kings, that is the one that I don't hate completely, because you got Kevin
Okay.
Huerter's salary. You've got, I mean, I was gonna say Jalen McDaniels with the trade him. You've got like a some other young pieces you maybe could throw in there, like a Trey Lyles. And if Lonzo Ball's playing really well, that would give you another high level 3-and-D guy. Maybe fits in a little better than Kevin Huerter. The Spurs could take a chance for sure. It's just like, what do you trade? Like maybe Harrison Barnes contract if they don't want him, or Keldon Johnson if you'd rather have a guard. Maybe take that chance. Maybe the Hornets are like, hey, LaMelo, we'll get your brother in here. We can give you, X player here, X player there. We'll make it happen just because LaMelo will be happy. It's tough. The Lakers, like I don't know, man. It's tough. It's just really hard to find a place that makes a ton of sense for Lonzo, especially with how
Playing the
unproven he
Spurs
is.
is not crazy. If they think he's
Spurs is
playing
not.
well and they're like, well, Chris Paul's probably done after a year or two. If this guy's worth having around to pair with Wemby, why not? He can defend. He was a good passer when he was playing.
It's just the problem is it is all in theory, because you have
It is.
no
This
idea
is-
what he's going to look like. So
it's not
just-
happening tomorrow. These teams are going to have an opportunity to look at him first.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Rat list. Go ahead.
Rat list is Star Market. Star Market is, if you've never been, attached to TD Garden. At least one of the Star Market locations is attached to TD Garden. The great thing about that Star Market location used to be, once I arrive after my hour 20-minute commute, I can go down there and I can use the bathrooms because the bathrooms are very hard to find. Not a lot of people know about them, and they're pretty clean and they're not busy, which is the big thing. Like, you don't want to have a line. I go down to the bathrooms yesterday and they have codes on the door to get in. You can no longer just go in the bathroom as a customer of Star Market. I'm sure I
You
could
just
have
have to
asked
use-
somebody.
Yeah, why didn't you just ask the person at the register?
I didn't. It was far away from the register, so it kind of like I had to walk all the way back to the register and then all the way back to the bathroom. It was just faster for me to just like leave and like go to the arena or whatever. But man, that sucks. Like after a Celtics game, like if you go to a game as a fan, that used to be a prime spot. Just
Well,
go there, pee
that
before
is
you go
probably
home.
why they put the codes on the door, because it was probably a pain in the ass because they're getting a bunch of people vomiting in their bathroom at 3 or 12 in the morning.
Vomiting in the bathroom.
Probably.
Just I have had my perk, secret, whatever you want to call it, ruined because some people don't know how to handle it. I'm a responsible bathroom user. But some people just can't handle that responsibility, I suppose. It's really sad.
I see. Or at least the chicken sandwich I had at lunch today because it was just bad. My mom took me out to lunch, and it was the
Okay,
first
go
like
ahead.
bad chicken sandwich I've had in a while. Like it was just
I didn't think that existed.
I didn't either, and it was just the problem was one, the chicken was a little dry, which sucks. It was also one of those chicken sandwiches where the chicken is way too big for the bun it was on, so it was just giant. It's normally okay, but the chicken was dry, and then the bread was awful. It just like fell apart in my hands to where I just had to use a fork and knife. Like I couldn't pick it up because the bread fell apart. Like it was stale and it was like crumbly. It was just not good. The rest of
Where'd
the
you
things were
go?
okay. Like I don't even remember what it's called. I would air it out if I remembered, but I just genuinely have no idea what it was. It was just a random place that we stopped along the way. Yeah, I was sad because I was like, you know what, I get the safe option, get a chicken sandwich, and it never fails. Failed. Hell. Fried pickles were good though. So
I can't tell you the last time I had fried pickles. I don't think I've ever had fried pickles from a non-Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant, actually.
fried pickles are great.
I like pickles. I like fried food. Probably would like them. Rat list is Florida. I'm sick of the football team, obviously, not the state itself. What do I care? I'm done betting on Florida. I have bet on Florida 3 or 4 times this year. They never come through. They almost beat Tennessee over the weekend. We took them live for a nice little push. Nothing. They lose in overtime. It was just pathetic the way that they lost. I can't believe I keep following the bets on Florida. I can't do it. Florida's bad. They are bad. They are in a down year. They are not the Gators of old. I can't believe I keep falling for the trap. It's horrible.
My roommate's a Florida guy. We all picked SEC teams. So I'm a Tennessee guy. So
you guys
I
had a
was very
big
pleased.
matchup on Saturday. Then you guys had a stare down, probably.
I know I was at the game and he texted me. He goes, "Florida's taking Tennessee to OT," and I texted him back. I said I was silly to ever be worried. they were never going to do it.
That's a fact. That is unequivocally a fact. If your team is playing Florida, you should be all right.
Anti-rat list. Raising Cane's. You ever had Raising Cane's?
Yes.
Just really good.
I told you about the first time I ever had Raising Cane's, right?
No,
Clearly
maybe
not.
I don't remember.
Guy fell off the stool in the Boston location. He just straight ate shit on the ambulance had to come.
Oh my god, that
Yeah,
bad?
it was quite the first time I've ever been at Raising Cane's. Me and Caleb were just like, "Oh my god,
That's insane."
Yeah.
No, I had no idea. Raising Cane's really good though. Got it a couple times last week. Big fan. It's a good deal too. It's like I think 20 something bucks, but you get like 4 fingers, you get fries, you get the bread, you get the cold, like you get a whole ass like big meal, and I'm like, I might get it tonight. I might get it tonight.
Makes it even crazier the deal you get from the Celtics when you go as media. Just so like everyone knows, like they have a pregame buffet. You pay $10. You can just eat all this excellent food prepared by the arena's chefs. $10.
Shout out Lamont. Lamont's a beast. Guy's a goat.
Unbelievable chicken tenders yesterday.
They're real good. I don't have anything else.
Rat list. Me somehow getting stuck in fucking traffic at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night, heading back from the arena. Just get out of the tunnel.
Yep.
It wasn't even road work. Someone must have got in an accident or something. But my GPS was
really?
like telling me, like, get off the highway, like go this way. And by the time I got to the exit, it was not the right move, and it was actually starting to like loosen up a little bit. If I had gotten off the highway just to have traffic no longer be there by the time I made the alternate route, I would have been devastated.
You probably wouldn't have known though, because you'd have been gone at that point.
I don't know. I might have known.
How?
Because you would see the little thing on the map where it says red, yellow, like the road is red or yellow based on how heavy the traffic is.
I see. All right. I don't have anything else. You have anything else?
We can wrap it up.
All righty. In that case, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you think of the boys at the end of the preseason. We got one more game left. We'll be here for pregame tonight at 7:30. If you hit the bell, you'll be notified for that. No, pregame at 7. You'll be notified for that, as well as all of our other uploads. Pods dropping Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recasts morning after each game, and other videos in between to keep you busy. You can also find Jack and I on Spotify and Apple. All pods and recaps will be there for you. So if you're more of an audio person, go ahead, follow us. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. You can also email us. hbtcpod@gmail.com is the address for that. You saw Rui do it today. You saw RJ do it today. You want to be like those two guys. They are some of the finest fans we have here at HBTC. So get in on the fun. Email us. It's a great time to do so. The preseason will be wrapping up here tonight, and you'll have plenty to say, I'm sure. You can find us on socials at How About Them Steez for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is Jack Simone NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.